Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jones.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, guys, let's wrap up tonight with a look at an interesting experiment by ESPN. All 32 NFL beat writers participated in a complete redraft of the NFL's current players. The rules were that all players were released as free agents from their contracts and salary caps were turned off. 4 rounds were given to all 32 writers, now GMs of their respective teams, to redraft of core players to get them to a Super Bowl in 5 years. In those picks, they had to pick a quarterback, a non-quarterback offensive player, a defensive player, and then the last pick could be a wild card, which you could use in any order, but you had to have it, you had one open pick. The 2020 draft order was used, but utilized a snaking format. So whoever picked 32 then also picks 33, and you work back up the order from there. The rest of the rosters are filled with average level NFL talent for the assumptions. So Jay, we'll start with you. Let's hear your best and worst. Why?
Yeah, I got three that I really liked what they're doing, which is interesting because two of these teams, I don't think these teams could draft this well in real life. I'm talking about Chicago. You may be surprised that I'm a fan of a team that took Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback. But look, I really think they surrounded him with some great pieces with those other three positions. Derrick Henry is going to be that running back there. So just like in San Francisco, they're gonna be running the football um, to a great degree with Derrick Henry. He might not get started until week 7, but after that, he coming for you. And then you got Jerry Jeudy, the rookie. We talk about route running, best route runner people have evaluated in about 20 years. So that's going to be a great asset. And then Eddie Jackson back there, the ball hawking safety. So you got to, I know Drink's going to love that draft class. You got 3 of those guys coming out from Alabama. They're going to be looking good with them first 4 picks. Something tells me their current general manager wouldn't be able to replicate this draft. I'm talking about Ryan Pace. Listen, another team out there, Houston did very well, which is how this whole thing is fictitious. I'm looking. You just know some of these writers. This was good by the Houston NFL Nation writer. He's like, I'm gonna stick it to Bill O'Brien. I'm getting DeAndre Hopkins right back on this team. We'll take him first, and then you got Saquon Barkley. So you got top 3 talent at wide receiver and running back, and then Derek Carr. We're not all that enamored with Derek Carr, and John Gruden he's not. I don't think he's all that crazy about him. That's been the subject of the Raiders since John Gruden took the job. But I think if John Gruden could have had Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Hopkins, I think Derek Carr can make it happen for you. And then Tyrann Mathieu, we saw what an asset he was in the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl run. So I think that's a good core 4 guys right there. And then Tennessee, and I know Cody ain't gonna be too happy with this, but Tennessee did well. They get the most explosive wide receiver in NFL, Tyreek Hill. They took Cam Newton. What a courageous pick out there. Meanwhile, he still can't even get a job. But then you get top 5 talent on the defensive line and at cornerback with Fletcher Cox, big guy, Philadelphia Eagle, and then Jair Alexander, a guy at a Green Bay. I got a lot of love for him out there. So I think those teams did a lot right. Again, Houston and Chicago, they can only hope. Maybe those writers should get a GM look because Bill O'Brien and Ryan Pace, they ain't making it happen. But on the other side, teams and writers that didn't do all that great. I don't know if the Green Bay writer was just like trolling the Green Bay GM for that ridiculous draft he put on this year. But look, his first 3 picks, they're not bad. You get Tua with the 30th pick, and then you get him a left tackle. He's gonna need some protection back there with David Bakhtiari. You get Darius Slay at corner, and then you drafted a kicker. You drafted a kicker with your 4th pick. And remember, keep in mind, the rosters were barren. They took everybody off the roster. So you got to fill out a 53-man roster, and you took a kicker 4th. Okay. All right. Good job, Gutekunst. That seemed like a Gutekunst thing to do. Anyway, listen, I wasn't a huge fan of some of these writers doubling up on positional groups. Carolina, I don't know what this was. First of all, you take Joey Bosa with the 7th pick, and he was the second defensive player taken off the board behind Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald went 5th to Miami. I understand Joey Bosa, really good player, but is he really the second best defensive player in the NFL? I don't know about that one. I think a lot of people would make the argument that they'd rather have Nick Bosa than Joey Bosa. But then you double down in the next round. You take DeForest Buckner. And can we just say DeForest Buckner, I mean, I didn't really see him pop until last year. And that was when finally all your first-round picks in San Francisco on that line came to fruition. So I guess we'll see what he does on that major contract. And he's going to be the guy offensive lines are going to be keying on when they play the Colts. So we'll see about it. And then, oh, by the way, this is what happens when you play around and take back-to-back defensive ends. You end up with Jarrett Stidham. Now, there's nobody on this show that has been more open to Jarrett Stidham possibly being a thing up there in New England. But if you redrafted the whole NFL, I don't want Jarrett Stidham. I just don't. And you take a rookie offensive lineman in Jedrick Wills. Carolina didn't do all that good. And then meanwhile, how about Kansas City? Kansas City, Stephon Gilmore. Okay, you got your defensive player of the year from last year. I think he's the best cornerback in football right now. But then you went running back again. We just talked about running backs are devalued. And nobody should know that more than Kansas City. They don't even try to run the football because they don't have to. But he thought he was slick. So he takes Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb. I can't imagine why you would need both of these guys this high, but there he goes. And then you got somebody else that he's probably going to run the football quite a bit too because, as a passer, he's not terrible, but I wouldn't confuse him with the word prolific. I'm talking about Tyrod Taylor. That's the best you could do, Kansas City. So there you go. Your 3 winners are Chicago, Houston, Tennessee, and then Kansas City, Carolina, and Green Bay. Just not good.
So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, no disagreements with Jay's teams that didn't do, all that hot. So I'm not going to reissue that. He made that pretty clear. He gave us the pretty clear cut, answer to that. And I like what he said about Green Bay because that's just Green Bay can't catch a win if you threw it to them. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what we're talking about. Look, they need to change their name from the Packers to something else because they need to pack up their boxes and get up out of town. But here's the deal. Here's my 3.
Real quick, you will notice Jordan Love wasn't a part of this, by the way. Just want to throw that in there.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't, huh? Look at that. First-round pick. Look at that. All the other first-round quarterbacks made it. Not sure Jordan Love, huh? Ain't that something? So here's the gist, all right? My first team is Detroit Lions. Look, here's the deal. Look, they've been the lovable losers that they've been. But here's the deal. Hey, we get the redraft, so we get to hit the reset button. Holla at your boy. So, Detroit Lions, all right, they got Lamar Jackson, all-pro. You know what it is, MVP. Holla at your boy. Throw it. Hey, you can't catch me. And hey, I got to wear different color clothes because, my dark skin. And then we're going to go over to – they drafted DJ Moore, like young stud out of Carolina. You must say, behind Christian McCaffrey, this guy has been doing some work. You add him with Lamar Jackson. I'm going to tell you this right now. DJ Moore is the best wide receiver Lamar Jackson had thus in his career right now. So even if you don't like DJ Moore, you got to say he's better than what Lamar Jackson had. Then let's go over to the defense. Did I say all-pro? Hey, we had Derwin James. He was on a good trajectory. Then he got hurt. I think at some point we will see him as an all-pro in that safety department. And then we ended up with Tre'Davious White. Do I need to say more? We know what he do. We know how he get down. Now, to Jay's point about doubling up, I don't have a problem with doubling up. And I don't necessarily consider this doubling up because on paper they play 2 different positions. But I do understand what he means when he say about doubling up. And did I say doubling up? I think I said doubling up. Let's go on to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, here's the deal. They went with Matt Stafford. And I know what people say. Matt Stafford, he ain't won nothing. But you also can't name me 3 of his running backs. All you can tell me is Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson. You can't go no farther than that. You can't give me nothing better than that. So before we beat up Matt Stafford, let's remember the dude didn't have a lot. Then here come Bob the Builder in town. That's another conversation for another day. I'll let your boy. Now, he would have the luxury of throwing to one Julio Jones. We know what time it is. All pro, top 5. Holler at your boy. You know what it is. I can put 400 receiving yards on you if I got to. Holler. Matt Stafford, I'd have died and went to heaven. And then let's go ahead and roll over to the defense side. One J.J. Watt. We know what it is. I'm delivering Papa John's right to your front door. You know what it is. Hey, when this guy's on his game, all pro, 2-time defensive player of the year, you know what it is, baby. And then we're going to round it up with one Stephon Diggs. Now, I want to reiterate what Jay said. The Baltimore did double up on wide receiver. You know, I'm not terribly mad at it. Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Matt Stafford would finally get, you know, the praise that we once thought he was going to get when he was the number 1 overall draft pick back in the day. So long ago, I got to blow the dust off. And then we're going to go over to the Los Angeles Rams. Now, we know this is a fantasy format, you know, because in all reality, Los Angeles Rams going to be something that you wipe your shoes off on. You call it what you call it, but they're not going to be this good. But, hey, why not go ahead? And then, did the Rams mess up a fantasy too? Maybe they did. So here we are having a good time with fantasy, and then here we go. They get Christian McCaffrey. You already know how we feel about Christian McCaffrey. That's neither here nor there. Fantastic pick. But then we get Jared Goff. These dudes just don't learn their lesson. You go back and get them in the fantasy too, ain't that bought up. And then you get on the defensive side, we got Dante Fowler Jr. Well, I mean, he's a good player, but you know, after that 1 year, whatever. But then they went and made up for it with Bobby Wagner. We know what Bobby Wagner bring. All pro, been locking down the middle of that Seattle defense since, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let that get too far ahead of you. But listen, we see that those are my 3 teams. I don't want to hold it up too long. Like I said, I agree with Jay with those sorry piss poor teams that he named with the Packers at the top of the bill. All right. So yeah, I went with Detroit, Baltimore, and Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was trying to be a little different here, but Drink kind of we were thinking the same wavelength, I guess. As I also the Lions is my favorite out of this. You know, when you think about this format, you know, again, what they had to do is they had to take the 4 players, make your little core of elite players, and then the rest of your roster is just average NFL talent. So I'm looking for guys that can do more than one thing for me. Lamar Jackson, other than being, you know, the reigning MVP and being a great quarterback, you know, he also can dynamically change your run game. Like we just talked about in the last segment, Baltimore ran almost 60% of the time this past season. Triple option, run pass option. I mean, he adds an instant amount of rushing attack to your offense that you wouldn't have otherwise. So I don't have to waste my time going to get a running back. I can use whatever serviceable back I get, and Lamar Jackson can enhance my running game. Derwin James, another guy, Swiss Army knife all over the field. Derwin James can come up. He can lay the wood on a running back and then go cover wide receiver the next play like there's nothing to it when he's healthy. So if I got a pretty lackluster, average Madden core gold player defense, you know, I want a Derwin James back there to be my X factor. You know, Tre'Davious White, solid corner, maybe not the best in the league, but he's definitely a solid, you know, top 10. Put him on a guy, he's going to do his job and do it well. And DJ Moore, man, just the value in that 4th round. Hey, I'll take it all day. So to me, yeah, hey, I'll agree with Drink the Lions.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Cody, but I gotta say this. I think you've been a tad bit disrespectful to Tre'Davious White. Like, I don't think you can name 4 cornerbacks that's better than him at this moment right now.
I think you got to say top 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely should be in the top 5 conversation for sure.
Fair enough.
Let's not be just disrespectful, man.
Yeah, I mean, other than Gilmore and I guess Ramsey, I don't know, I've heard from him in a while, but yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no. So even better. I mean, it makes it even better. Fair enough.
Thank you for strengthening his argument.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're really looking out for me here.
It was the same argument I had. I had to say something. You know what I mean?
You're right. The other 2 I saw in here I liked a lot for the good side was Seattle, a little underrated. They got Mike Evans and they got Jalen Ramsey. So I always think you need a wide receiver. You need a guy who can cover wide receivers. And then Big Ben, little old, but they're going for the win now. And they also got DeMarcus Lawrence, prime pass rusher. So you get a prime corner, prime pass rusher, prime wide receiver, and then a quarterback that can hopefully kind of use his experience, kind of get you over the hump. And then also, I did agree, I liked Houston a lot too. You know, Derek Carr, but with those kind of weapons, I think they'd be all right. For the dislikes, I'm going to say Miami. I didn't like what they did here. I can't condone having the 5th overall pick in this redraft and you take a defensive tackle. I mean, I get Aaron Donald is an anchor and a disruptor like pretty much no one else in the football field, but I can still game plan Aaron Donald pretty easy. I can't game plan a top 5 quarterback as easy as I can Aaron Donald. If it was maybe 15th or 10th even, I could go, okay, maybe if the elite quarterbacks are off and we're in that tier 2, that Kirk Cousins range, maybe. But top 5, man, come on, Miami. You gotta get a franchise quarterback. You gotta get a guy who can win you a Super Bowl because that's the ultimate goal of this experiment. And can't go with that. Then you go with a running back in round 2 with Zeke, and again, great running back, but running back, I mean, maybe not. And then you go back to Kirk Cousins in round 3, and Kevin Byard rounds it out. I don't know. I just didn't think they did a very good job with that. There was a lot more value left there. And then also, I'll agree with Kansas City, 2 running backs. What are we doing? And then the Chargers, they took Ronnie Stanley, Zadarius Smith, Daniel Jones, and Brandon Brooks, and just, I don't know, a guard. I mean, could there be, you took 2 offensive linemen. I mean, offensive tackle, you want to sell me on Ronnie Stanley, that's fine. But going back for a guard, I mean, unless you're going to run that same side every time or something, I don't know. I would have probably taken a skill position player and just hope my average talent can run off that. So, yeah, those are my 3 winners and losers from this. Fun experiment, though.